I am Dr. Lionel Vela, Senior Associate Dean for Education and Academic Affairs and Professor here at the School of Medicine. And it is a great honor and privilege to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for this most profound and very special event. We are delighted that you have joined us for this very historical moment in the history of UTRGV, the School of Medicine, the Valley, and our great state of Texas. Before proceeding with the program, I would like to review some housekeeping matters. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a solemn ceremony with significant meaning, so we ask you to please turn off your cell phones or place them in the silent mode. You're welcome to take photos or videotape from your seats, but please do not leave your seats or approach the stage to take pictures or videos during any part of the ceremony. The ceremony will be videotaped. Photos will be taken by professional staff of the university, and these will be made available to the students to share with their families. We have photographers, videographers strategically placed in the auditorium, and they will capture every moment of this occasion. So now, I know you're very anxious to welcome the class of medical students. So at this time, please direct your attention to the large screen behind me. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the charter class of the UTRGV School of Medicine. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the UTRGV Army ROTC and singing of our national anthem by UTRGV student Cecilia Molina.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you very much. A warm welcome to the U.S. Army ROTC and Cecilia, who graced us with her beautiful singing today. Thank you, Cecilia. I will now present the special platform guests, faculty members of the Medical School Executive Committee and department chairs. So please hold your applause until all are presented. So you may have a seat, please. I present William McCraven, Chancellor of the University of Texas System, Dr. Guy Bailey, Founding President of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, Dr. Javidan Rodriguez, UTRGV Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Francisco Fernandez, Professor in the Department of Psychiatry, Neurology, and Neurosciences, and Founding Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Steve Lieberman, Interim Dean of the UTRGV School of Medicine, Dr. Daryl Kirch, President and CEO of the Association of American Medical Colleges, and our keynote speaker. Faculty members of the Medical Dean's Executive Committee, Dr. Robert Nelson, Senior Associate Dean for Faculty Matters, Dr. John Renaud, Senior Associate Dean for Interprofessional Education, Dr. Yolanda Gomez, Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education, Dr. Adela Valdez, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, Dr. Barry Linger, Assistant Vice President for Accreditation and Institutional Effectiveness. And our department chairs, Dr. Michael Collard, Interim Chair, Department of Biomedical Sciences, Dr. Gabriel Dedroskin, Chair, Department of Psychiatry, Neurology, and Neurosciences, Dr. James Hanley, Interim Chair, Department of Medicine, Dr. Aaron Manasoff, Chair, Department of Family and Preventive Medicine, Dr. Tony Ogburn, Chair, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and Dr. Samuel Snyder, I wanted to say that we're delighted that Dr. Snyder will join the UTRGV School of Medicine on November 1st. As the chair of the Department of Surgery, Dr. Snyder was recently named also as a recipient of the Gold Humanism Award. So Dr. Snyder, we're delighted that you're joining us here today. Please join me in gratefully acknowledging these distinguished attendees. And there can be no medical school without faculty. These faculty who serve and will serve as the teachers and mentors of our medical students, and who unselfishly give of their time and expertise to prepare the next generation of physicians. So will the faculty of the UTRGV School of Medicine please stand and be recognized. The first full-fledged white coat ceremony took place at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons at the urging of Dr. Arnold P. Gold, who was then professor of clinical neurology and clinical pediatrics at Columbia. At the time, Dr. Gold noted that the existing practice of having students take the Hippocratic Oath at the end of their medical training occurred 4 years too late. Today, a white coat ceremony or similar rite of passage takes place in almost every accredited medical school in the US and Canada. The white coat ceremony is an auspicious experience as students enter medical school. In the presence of family and guests, students are welcomed into the community by leaders of the medical school and ceremonially cloaked with their doctor's white coat. Then, dressed in their white coat, they stand to take the oath, committing them to the profession of healing. By establishing this meaningful ritual at the beginning of medical school, students are aware of their responsibilities from the first day of training. This moving ceremony is intended to impress upon them the primacy of the doctor-patient relationship. It encourages them to enter into a social contract in which they accept the obligations inherent in the practice of medicine, to be excellent in science, to be empathetic, and to serve others with respect, honor, and compassion. It is designed to clarify for students that a physician's responsibility is to take care of patients and also to care about patients. This message is transmitted so doctors can care as well as cure. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the individual who leads this great university. In May 2014, Dr. Guy Bailey was named the founding president of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Prior to being named president of UTRGV, he served as president of the University of Alabama, Texas Tech University, and chancellor of the University of Missouri, Kansas City. He's been provost and executive vice president of the University of Texas, San Antonio, dean of liberal arts at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and chair of the English department of Oklahoma State University and the University of Memphis, and as a faculty member of Texas A&M and Emory University. Dr. Bailey has achieved much in these roles, but we are particularly grateful and blessed to have Dr. Bailey as our founding president for UTRGV School of UTRGV. It is with great honor that I now present to you our president, Dr. Guy Bailey.
Thank you so much. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here today. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on this special day of celebration. There are so many people to thank for making this day possible that I can't name them all, but I do want to mention some groups that I want to point out, people who've been particularly helpful. As you've been introduced to our Chancellor, he is here. We're grateful for his presence, but we also have our local regent, Ernie Aliseda, here, and we appreciate his presence and support. We have several executives from the UT system. We have a number of our deans here from UTRGV. Thank you all for being here. We also have numerous elected and appointed officials and from local, state, and federal levels joining us here today. I see at least 4 mayors, and we really appreciate your support. Without your support, this couldn't happen. This day would never happen. The university and the medical school truly belong to the entire Rio Grande Valley. Our success depends on all of us working together, and so we appreciate your being here today. Now, I want to point out 2 people in particular, and I'll tell you why in just a second. They're Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa and Senator Eddie Lucio. I want to thank both of you in particular for joining us this morning. As some of you know, the first legislation to form a medical school in the Rio Grande Valley was filed in 1947, before even I was born. It's a long time. These 2 senators made it happen. And so we should always be eternally grateful to them for their work and the work of the entire legislative delegation in bringing this medical school here today. And by the way, this Performing Arts Center was built with state-appropriated dollars. You don't see that very often, and our senators were very instrumental in making that happen as well. So thank all of you. We also have here today our hospital partners who have been very instrumental in getting our residency programs up and running, and I think we have about 100 medical residents throughout the Rio Grande Valley, and the hospitals have worked closely with our school's founding dean, Dr. Francisco Fernandez, and our new interim dean, Dr. Stephen Lieberman, as well as our terrific faculty. So we thank you for joining us today as well. And of course, we wouldn't be here today without the interest of these talented and compassionate young men and women who want to make a positive difference in the world. That's why they're here. That's why they're going to medical school. I want to thank all of you all of the inaugural class of 55 new medical students who we'll get to meet today, and I want to thank all your families for being here. We hope that all 55 of you will go to medical school here and then make the Rio Grande Valley your home, just as I've made it mine. Now, it's my pleasure today to introduce Dr. William McRaven, our Chancellor, and he's a retired U.S. Navy 4-star admiral and the Chancellor of the University of Texas System. He leads one of the nation's largest and most respected systems of higher education, and he's been a staunch supporter of the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. He's visited here a number of times, in fact, more than he's visited any other campus in the system. Don't repeat that outside the room, please. Since he became Chancellor in 2015, he's recommitted the UT system and its institutions to improving the lives of Texans and people all over the world through education, research, and health care. His ambitious vision for the system includes 8 quantum leaps that address many of the most significant challenges that face the state of Texas. Prior to becoming Chancellor, as many of you know, Admiral McRaven was commander of U.S. Special Operations Command, and he led a force of 69,000 men and women and was responsible for conducting counterterrorism operations throughout the world. He's a worldwide and world-renowned expert in counterterrorism and has advised many presidents. We are fortunate to have him here today, and we're extremely fortunate to have him as our Chancellor. Chancellor McRaven.
Well, thank you very much, Guy, for that very kind introduction. And I want to thank Frank Fernandez, along with his faculty and staff, who have done such a phenomenal job standing up the School of Medicine, and of course Steve Lieberman, who has clearly hit the ground running in your new role. So thank you all very much. And to our new medical students, I'm sure it has already dawned on you that while today marks an important personal milestone, it is also a day the entire region has been looking forward to for a very long time. A whole lot of people have been waiting for you. A whole lot of people are counting on you, myself included. I grew up about 230 miles north of here in San Antonio. My mother was a school teacher who also volunteered at Wilford Hall Hospital at Lackland Air Force Base. And from the time I was a little boy, my mother longed for me to be a doctor. She loved the fact that there were doctors in my family tree, not on her side, but my father's father and his father were both doctors. My grandfather served in both World War I and World War II as a doctor, but his real service in life was taking care of the people of New Madrid County in Missouri. He was the quintessential country doctor, exchanging his medical services for eggs and bread and livestock. He died flat broke, and yet I am convinced he was the richest man in New Madrid, because over 5,000 people came to his funeral. To my mother's chagrin, I did not follow in his footsteps nor my great-grandfather's footsteps. I never donned the white coat. Destiny had a different path in mind for me and a different kind of uniform. After graduating from the University of Texas, I embarked on a career as a Navy SEAL. And while that may seem like a very different career choice than the one you have made, I believe they are similar in some very important respects. It is why I wanted to be here today, and it is why this ceremony resonates so powerfully with me. Today, you are, in effect, putting on the uniform of a medical professional. Now, take it from me, a uniform will transform you the second you put it on. Think of the attributes of your uniform and what they represent. In the military, we have what's called a unit patch. When I put on my uniform, I know I am representing that unit. The patch I wore was the Navy SEAL Trident. Everybody who wears the Trident is expected to behave in a way that honors the standards and the traditions of Navy SEAL. Today, as you put on your white coats, you join a similarly elite group. The coat tells the world that while your education is far from complete, you are no longer merely students. You have accepted and embraced the high expectations of the medical profession. You will be unwavering in your professionalism. You will heal. You will comfort. You will be at your best when patients need you the most. You will give them hope. That's what I see, and it's what the world sees when they see that white coat. Now, in addition to my unit patch, my uniform had something else very important on it. It had my name, my family name, the name of my father and my grandfather who served before me. I realized as soon as I put on the uniform that I was also representing my family. And the same goes for all of you. Earning a white coat is a phenomenal accomplishment, and we're all here to salute the hard work and the determination that went into it. But never, ever forget that while it is your personal name that's on that uniform, you are also representing your mothers and fathers and siblings and everyone who has supported you on the journey and sacrificed on your behalf. Keep them in mind and honor them. Of course, the most important thing my uniform had on it was the American flag. As soon as I put the uniform on, I knew I was representing everybody in the United States of America. And your coats don't have the flag, but they have something that's just as meaningful, the logo of the UTRGV School of Medicine. I know the 20 of you who are from the Valley already understand, and I dare say the rest of you have probably figured it out as well. Unlike any class of students beginning medical school anywhere in the world right now, you are part of something unique, something historic. At long last, a child born today will have the opportunity to stay in the Valley from their pre-K education all the way through high school, undergraduate studies, medical school, residency training, and medical practice. The loop has finally been closed, and that is going to change the trajectory of the entire region permanently and for the better. So as we celebrate the accomplishments and the potential of an extraordinary group of students, we are also celebrating a milestone in the life of the entire region. One final thought. One last parallel between the paths destiny had in store for me 40 years ago and the journey you are embarking on today. In 1973, the military transitioned from the draft to an all-volunteer force. A lot of people thought it would never work. Who would volunteer to be in the military? The pay is low, the conditions are tough, the sacrifices, including lots of time away from home and family, are huge. The naysayers were quickly proven wrong. Volunteers came in droves. Not only that, but the quality of those serving jumped dramatically. They were hungry to serve, to make a difference. In the same way, the medical profession, perhaps the most challenging profession in the world, is made up entirely of volunteers. By putting on the white coat, you are volunteering for a course of training and ultimately a career that will test you physically, mentally, and spiritually. You are volunteering for long hours, for time away from family and friends, for constant heartbreak, because you want to serve your fellow man. And so I have come here to Edinburgh, yes, to congratulate you, but also to thank you. Though you still have a long road ahead of you, you have already made me and everyone here proud. Now, go make the most of this opportunity. Go make a difference. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Chancellor McCraven and President Bailey. I'd like now to introduce the Provost of the UTRGV. Dr. Javidan Rodriguez is the founding Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and tenured professor in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at UTRGV. He also served as President at Interim and Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at the University of Texas, Pan American. Prior to arriving at UTPA, Dr. Rodriguez served as Deputy Provost, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs and International Programs, and Professor of Sociology and Criminal Justice at the University of Delaware. He was also a core faculty member and former director of the Disaster Research Center, the oldest and one of the leading social science disaster research centers in the world. He obtained his PhD in sociology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dr. Rodriguez has held faculty positions and several administrative positions at the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, for over a decade. He is an internationally recognized expert in the social science aspects of disasters. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the Provost of UTRGV, Dr. Javidan Rodriguez.
Good morning. Muy buenos días. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Es un placer tenerlos a todos ustedes en esta importante mañana con nosotros en este momento histórico. It is certainly a pleasure and a privilege to see all of you here this morning with us, celebrating this momentous and historic moment, not only for the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, not only for our cohort of medical students, but for the Rio Grande Valley, for the state, and yes, for the nation. To our students, I want to say felicidades and congratulations. To all of you here, I want to say thank you, because think about it. In one way or another, small or large, you played a very important role in seeing UTRGV and the School of Medicine come to fruition. Thank you, muchísimas gracias. You know, not too long ago when I lived in Puerto Rico, if you lived in a poor community in Puerto Rico, you wanted to be an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor. So I decided that I wanted to be a doctor. After being an auto mechanic for a few months, that was probably not the right choice. But I decided I wanted to pursue pre-med. But after several years, my family and I, my mother and I, could not afford a college education. So I decided, be all you can be, join the Air Force. And since I wanted to be a medical doctor, I chose to be an emergency medical technician. And I had the opportunity for almost 4 years to work hand in hand, side by side with nurses, doctors, and other medical professions in the profession to realize one thing: I did not want to be a medical doctor. So I decided to pursue my dream. But more importantly, we are celebrating today your dream. You have taken the challenge. You have navigated through the process. You are here because you want to become a medical doctor. You are here because you want to make a difference in the lives of so many communities in the Rio Grande Valley and beyond. And for that we say congratulations, and for that we say thank you. You are entering a wonderful environment at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley and the School of Medicine. Not too long ago, when the LCME, the accrediting body for the School of Medicine, came to visit us, in the exit interview with President Bailey and Dr. Frank Fernandez and I, the team said, this School of Medicine will be the envy of many schools of medicine throughout the nation. And you know why? Yes, because we have state-of-the-art facilities, but more important, because we have outstanding faculty, because we have an excellent cohort of students, because we have great leadership, because our faculty and our staff in the School of Medicine have worked very hard to make your dream come true. This has indeed been a community effort, as Dr. Bailey indicated, so we thank all of you for making this reality today come true. Thank you for being part of this dream. To all the parents, families, guests, friends, for our students in the School of Medicine, we say a los padres, a las madres, a los abuelos, a las abuelas, a los amigos, a los familiares, muchísimas gracias. Their success has been in great part due to the support that you have provided. But moving forward, they will even need more of your support to be successful at UTRGV and the School of Medicine. UTRGV and the School of Medicine is having a great impact. In less than 3 weeks, we opened a clinic, a health clinic, with the School of Nursing in collaboration with the medical school in McAllen, in Harlingen, Just a week ago, we unveiled a medical unit that will serve about 4,500 patients throughout the Rio Grande Valley in a year. Again, the School of Medicine coming together with the College of Health Affairs and others to serve the community. So to our students, I say, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this challenge. You will be able to serve during your stay here one of the most underserved populations in healthcare, not only in the region, but in the country. You will make a difference to those individuals who you serve, but also to their families, to the community, to the Rio Grande Valley, and to this great nation. So once again, thank you very much. We will have many generations of medical students here at UTRGV, but you will forever hold the honor, the privilege, and the responsibility of being the inaugural class of the School of Medicine of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Felicidades, muchas gracias, and we wish you the very, very best. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much, Provost Rodriguez. I'd like now to introduce Dr. Francisco Fernandez. Dr. Fernandez is professor in the Department of Psychiatry, Neurology, and Neurosciences. He's a founding dean of the UTRGV School of Medicine. Dr. Fernandez received his medical degree from Tufts University School of Medicine in Boston. He completed an internship in internal medicine, a residency in psychiatry at the Massachusetts General Hospital, and is board certified in psychiatry. He served as a faculty member at UTMD Anderson and Baylor College of Medicine, with joint appointment to the faculty of the UT Health Science Center in Houston. He has been at the University of Chicago, Loyola, University of South Florida, and serving as chairman of the psychiatry department in each institution. In Tampa, he also directed the university's Institute for Research in Psychiatry and Neurosciences. Dr. Fernandez is an expert in the psychiatric complications of the medically and surgically ill. He currently serves as president of the American College of Psychiatrists and was a recipient of the Simón Bolívar Award of the American Psychiatric Association for his work on AIDS in Hispanic communities. In 2015, he received the Physician of the Year Award from the National Hispanic Association. Please join me in a warm applause to Dr. Fernandez.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You are told never to apologize for a lecture or presentation. My voice is usually a soft one, but if it weakens, forgive me. I absolutely love the white coat ceremony. Now, I may look like odd man out today, and there's a reason why I have a short coat. I have a short coat, and the students know this, because I told them that as the inaugural class, I would not wear a long coat till 2020 in their honor. You would think that the white coat ceremony is relatively the same, but I can tell you that it's quite different everywhere that you go. It is true that it's around a central theme, taking that first step in your journey in medicine, pledging your intent to ethical and honorable behavior always. But listen carefully also to what you're saying today. And I urge you to reflect on your oath frequently in this journey, because today is much more than just a ritual of initiation. So at the risk of sounding like Frasier, I'm listening. Soon after starting classes on Monday, you will find among us, among your faculty, mentors who will serve as the foundation for self-instruction, lifelong problem solving, and triumph in your careers. Apart from learning the scientific foundations of medicine, one of the tasks that the faculty will inculcate in you is to always remain interested, as you heard from the Chancellor's father, in the human condition. That is, after all, what the pins that you have on your lapel from the Arnold P. Gold Foundation is all about. But how does one do this? I didn't come to it easily, and it was over time, and it was thanks to three people. One, Ned Casson, who was the chair of the Optimal Care Committee at Massachusetts General Hospital. Another, George Murray, who was the head of the fellowship program for consultation liaison psychiatry, the psychiatry of the medically and surgically ill. And the third was Avery Weisman, who was the principal investigator of an incredible project called the Omega Project that focused on death and dying. So you probably think, my God, how much more morose can this man get? But I'll tell you, it was a model that for me helped me model myself. And as physicians, their emphasis on remaining undistracted and undaunted at the task at hand by listening carefully to address the sense of uncertainty and solitude that many of your patients will face as they go through medicine and what we do with them in medicine. Undoubtedly, the tool of listening can be key in the successes of your lives as physicians. From Ned, George, and Avery, I learned how listening can inspire you. And by itself, it's therapeutic. It is perhaps as therapeutic as any other procedure or intervention that we have in medicine. But more importantly, listening helps you learn. And learning from your patients, you will become a much better physician. When I was first announced as inaugural dean, I was in the auditorium in Harlingen at the RAC. Dr. Greenberg is here, so it was the three Franciscos and the Ray. That's his first name. And imagine my surprise to have someone from the media ask me a provocative question. They asked me how I would relate to the Mexican Americans in the Rio Grande Valley. Those of you that were there might remember my response, and that there were 5 core values to Hispanics that cut across all cultures and subcultures and allowed us to relate to each other heart to heart. But as I prepared today, and as I read your oath, I said, you know what? That is part of the commitment that you're going to make today. So they were very simple, 5 commitments as part of your oath today that will make part of your professional development as physicians, and you will need to fine-tune them throughout your career. Corazón, respeto, dignidad, sensibilidad y afecto. Yes, I will translate. The first one, corazón, it's heart. You will have to learn to feel for your patients with all of your hearts and show forgiveness and compassion to them. Their general welfare and that of their families is what is important, and by extension, from them to their communities. After all, remember what most of you said during your interviews. That is in part why you came to the Rio Grande Valley, to be in an area where you can do the best for all. Respeto, respect. Respect not just for well-being, but as you heard in betwixt the lines in terms of the Chancellor's dad, for humanity. You must never, as you will say in your oath today, consider yourself to be above anything or anyone else. Dignidad, dignity. Everyone, no matter what walk of life, nationality, politics, sexuality, or religion, always deserves to be treated honorably. This should be the driving force behind all of your actions as a physician. No matter what your personal beliefs, behave and practice at all times as if you're driven by a belief larger than yourself. It is the one thing you have to achieve with sincerity, and your patients will be greatly appreciative of that. Sensibilidad, sensitivity. You have to feel for others, as you hear oftentimes, in being compassionate and empathic. You have to understand and share the feelings of another. You all have a particular digital anatomy program that you'll be using that allows you to move on throughout your career by loading your own cases and creating a library. Do the same thing as you encounter others' feelings and emotions. Creating that library of understanding of others' feelings is an important part of being a physician and having a preventive impact. Afecto, or affect. This is one of my favorite because it's probably the easiest of the 5 that came to me, to have a positive affect and remain optimistic at all times. It's a strategy that does not require your insurance to clear. It does not require money. So just bring that optimism with you to those that need care and understanding. So those are the 5 elements. Today, as you wear your white coat for the first time, please take a second to think about the next step that you will take in this road and realize that this is the first step on a journey that will be exciting and frustrating, but will be, as you know that I always like to say, fantabulous. Fantastic and fabulous. During those moments of greatest frustration, there is one quote from Ernest Hemingway that I want to leave you with. And yes, it is from The Old Man and the Sea. And it will help you in the trajectory of your life in a physician. And I'm going to just change it a little bit, because most of you will have very long lists of things that you need to do, of duties, of sign out, sign off, anything else that needs to happen before you call it a day and go home. But never think of those things, and never think of what you don't have. Think of what you can do with what there is, and stop and listen to your patients. So as a member of the UTRGV community, I speak as a faculty member, welcoming you on this tremendous journey. May you, your families, and your futures be blessed. And remember, I'm listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fernandez, for those wonderful and inspiring words. I'd like to now present the Interim Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Steve Lieberman. Dr. Lieberman has previously served as Senior Dean for Administration and holds a John P. Govern Distinguished Chair in Oscularian Medicine at the UT Medical Branch in Galveston. He is also a professor in the Department of Internal Medicine. He is board certified in both internal medicine and endocrinology, diabetes and metabolism, and continues to practice clinical endocrinology. Dr. Lieberman co-chairs the UT System's Transformation in Medical Education, the TIME Initiative. This effort, involving 6 pre-medical and 5 medical schools in the UT system, emphasizes competency-based education and intentional development of professional identity to improve physicians' education while shortening its duration. Dr. Lieberman has served on a variety of committees at the National Board of Medical Examiners since 2004 and currently serves on the United States Medical Licensure Examination Management Committee. He received his undergrad degree from Stanford University, his medical degree from UT Southwestern in Dallas. He completed his training in internal medicine at Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, followed by a clinical and research fellowship in endocrinology at Stanford. He was a member of the faculty at Georgetown University School of Medicine before joining the faculty at UTMB. Please join me in giving a warm applause to our Interim Dean, Dr. Stephen Lieberman.
Thank you, Dr. Vela. Buenos dias, good morning to everyone. University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, School of Medicine, class of 2020. As you've heard, you hold a very special place in the history of the Rio Grande Valley, and you represent the fulfillment of many dreams over many years. And as you've heard from each of our speakers, that makes you very special. I'm here to tell you, you're also very lucky. And you're lucky because when you interviewed for medical school, I wasn't here. Because if I had been here and I had interviewed you, I would have started with one simple question. Some have told me it's a bit of a trick question. I would have asked, what kind of doctor do you want to be? And if you had answered with anything that ends in ologist or in any other way refers to a specialty of medicine, I might have shown you the door. But if you had stopped for a moment and said, I want to be a good doctor, then you'd be sitting right where you're sitting today. And that's why we're all here, the faculty and staff, of the School of Medicine to help you become a good, even great doctor. Over the next 4 years, you'll spend a lot of time and effort learning basic science and clinical science, and these are essential, but not sufficient. You'll also spend a lot of time reflecting on what it means to be a good doctor and developing the skills and the professionalism to achieve that goal. And what is a good doctor? And I'm going to deviate from the script because I just heard 5 elementos que me gustan mucho. I just heard 5 elements from Dr. Fernandez that I think really captures what a good doctor is. Remember those 5, work on those 5. And hey, we've got 4 years together. Let's talk about those 5 a lot. And keep in mind that a good doctor is what your patients want you to be. UTRGV, School of Medicine, class of 2020. Bienvenidos, welcome. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I want to express great appreciation to the committee that has been working on this ceremony and the planning and dedication that have made this very special occasion extraordinarily special. And I particularly want to acknowledge and thank the tireless efforts of Dr. Leo Vela for his leadership and tremendous efforts in bringing this all together. Thank you. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. Darrell Kirch, our keynote speaker. Dr. Kirch is president and CEO of the Association of American Medical Colleges, which is the umbrella organization representing the nation's medical schools, teaching hospitals, and academic societies. A distinguished physician, educator, and medical scientist, Dr. Kirch speaks and publishes widely on the need for transformation in the nation's healthcare system and how academic medicine can lead change across medical education, biomedical research, and patient care. Prior to becoming AAMC president in 2006, Dr. Kirch served as the dean and academic health system leader of 2 institutions, the Medical College of Georgia and Penn State Milton S. Hershey Medical Center, as I understand it, not at the same time. He has co-chaired the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, the LCME, which is responsible for assuring the quality and accreditation of medical schools in the US and Canada, and now serves as chair of the Washington Higher Education Secretariat, as well as serving on the board of directors of the American Council on Education. Dr. Kirch also is a member of the National Academy of Medicine. Psychiatrist, clinical neuroscientist by training, Dr. Kirch began his career at the National Institute of Mental Health, becoming the acting scientific director in 1993 and receiving the Outstanding Service Medal of the United States Public Health Service. Native of Denver, he earned his bachelor's and MD degrees from the University of Colorado. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Darrell Kirch to UTRGV.
It is truly humbling for me to stand here and know that all of you took time out on a Saturday morning to travel a great distance just to hear me speak. I know full well what you came for, and I promise to not unduly stand in the way of the big event. But you were gracious enough to invite me, and so I want to reciprocate by sharing some thoughts. And the first thought was formed for me in the last 24 hours that I've been here. I've visited now probably about 115 or so of the 143 medical schools in the United States. I have never seen a medical school with more broad-based support from its community. I am the only person in this room that has failed to bring passion, energy, and hard work to this project. Every other person here has played a key role in that, and I congratulate you on that. So let me just adjust this. I think I'm getting some bumping. Better? I can't be at an event like this without being flooded with memories. It's really strange for me, but there's something about the process of medical education that it creates these memories that get burned into your brain, and even decades later, they are as vivid as they were the day they happened. So one of these memories for me is my getting my white coat. Now, when I went to medical school, we didn't have white coat ceremonies. I went to the bookstore to buy a white coat. Checked the size, put it in the bag, took it home, and when no one was there, put it on, stood in front of the mirror, and it looked terrible. I felt like an imposter. And I thought it must be the wrong size, right? So I checked the size, I tugged, I pulled, I straightened, washed it 3 times. It still didn't seem to fit. And what I've learned is it will not fit. You'll see this today. The students will come up here, put it on, give it a tug, and they'll look a bit uncomfortable. And it'll feel uncomfortable until you are the recipient of some truly incredible gifts, things that people give you that few others are privileged to receive, that really help it shape itself and help you fill it properly. So for me, memories of those gifts include actually the first day of anatomy. Now, anatomy is a tough course, and in those days it was even tougher because students didn't have the advantage of computer-based anatomy programs. We actually did a dissection of a cadaver, and I didn't know if I could do that. I knew I could stand the sight of blood, but I didn't know if I could do true anatomy class. And then you walk into the laboratory and you're hit by the smell of the formaldehyde, the formalin. And I got even a little more woozy about whether I could do this. But I did it. And here's where the gift comes in. Those anatomic cadavers, for you, the sections, the plastinated sections you'll be looking at, were human beings who gifted their body in death to you so that you could start to understand life. How many people get a gift like that? I remember you will start seeing patients almost immediately. You've even in your orientation had some exposure to patients. They protected the patients for us for almost 2 full years from us. And then there came the day when we were allowed to go in alone with a newly admitted patient to the hospital and actually do a full history, take their history, do an exam. And so I was at the Denver VA hospital and walked into the room of a gentleman who did not look at all well. And I pulled myself together, walked up to the bedside, introduced myself by name and said, "I am the medical student who will be helping care for you." And I saw this look of worry just sweep across his face. And I acknowledge that part of the worry may have been his concern about what's a medical student going to do to help me. But he and I actually became closer in our relationship than he was to anybody else on the healthcare team. And I think it was because he gave me the gift of his story, and as my friend Dr. Fernandez pointed out, I listened. It was a gift exchange that was just stunning. And when I listened, what I found out is that he had fought through the Battle of the Bulge the same winter my father fought that battle. And I suddenly saw him not as a frail, ill, concerned, worried person. I saw him for what he was, which was a member of that greatest generation who was now giving me the gift of being allowed to help care for him. One of my most vivid memories, and you'll experience this when you do your obstetrics rotation, for some reason, babies have been born for thousands of years without the help of doctors, so I'm not sure why, but for some reason this seems to feel like a special rite of passage for physicians. And pardon the expression, but it's one that's very commonly used on the labor deck where deliveries occur. It's called, you wait for your opportunity to catch the baby. So I was at Denver General Hospital in the maternity unit on obstetrics, and I had watched delivery after delivery. I had been doing all the duties of follow-up and pre-delivery workups. And finally, one day, when I really wasn't expecting it, the attending said, this is your delivery. And things were ready. It was uncomplicated. I knew exactly the steps I had to take. The mother did her job. And this baby was delivered into my hands. And the faculty physician came toward me and leaned in. And I was certain he was going to say something like, "My son, today you are a doctor." What he said was, "I really wish you wouldn't hold the baby quite so tightly." So I relaxed my grip, but managed to still hold the baby. And only later did I realize, after doing more deliveries and finishing that rotation, that these mothers, these fathers, had given me the gift of being a part of one of the most intimate moments of their lives. How many people are privileged to receive a gift of that magnitude? It's those gifts that smooth the coat out, help it feel comfortable, help it fill. Some of the gifts you receive will be given by my friends and colleagues up here. The teachers you'll remember for the rest of your lives. When I was with you as students yesterday at lunch, and I saw your camaraderie after only 4 weeks together, I know that one of the gifts you're going to give each other is friendship and support. My best friend today, I met on the first day of medical school. Those gifts also are equally precious. But there's also one other thing I want to mention that makes the coat finally fit. It will only feel right, and it will only feel like your coat and like you deserve it, to the degree that you adhere to the ethical commitments you're making to your profession. Now, you're going to take an oath. We will all witness it. And it's not that long, but it seems complicated. Embedded in it, though, are the 4 key principles of medical ethics. Every textbook you pick up of the ethics of practicing medicine has 4 simple items that constitute the things you need to always do. So, number 1 is called beneficence. simply means always trying to do good for your patient. Every doctor I know wakes up every morning intending to and then doing their very best to do good for their patients. I really don't think we struggle in medicine with that. I don't believe you will struggle with that at all. When I heard the concerns you expressed about the future of medicine and how to make it better, that proved to me you will do good. Now, the second principle of the two is do no harm. Now, again, that sounds fairly straightforward and simple. What physician would wake up in the morning intending to do harm? None do. But as medicine has become more powerful, it actually has become more possible to do harm. Unintentionally, inadvertently, it can happen. I know in my life, in my friends and family, and I would bet there are many people in this room who know of someone who was being cared for with the best of intentions, but who ended up suffering, unfortunately, because harm occurred. Perhaps the saddest cases for me are those times at the end of life when what the patient and the family need most is safe passage. And in our enthusiasm to do more, we inadvertently prolong suffering and increase the stress for the family. So doing no harm, as our medicine becomes more potent, can be a challenge. The third one is autonomy, and there's a trap here. Autonomy does not mean the independence of the doctor. The autonomy means the independence of the patient. You are not in charge, the patient is in charge. Medicine can sometimes create the temptation for you to become paternalistic, take control. Your job is as an aid. The decisions are not yours. You hopefully will become adept at sharing them with the patient so that the patient's interests are always there. And then the fourth one, and this is so important for you as a class, for this medical school, for this region, and for this state. Every textbook you look at of medical ethics says physicians should seek social justice. Now, that's not a political statement, it is an ethical statement. And what it means is it isn't just the patient in front of you you're responsible for, it's the population of people out there that you're responsible for. This is one where we struggle as a profession and where we struggle as a nation. I look at healthcare all around this country, and the thing that saddens me the most is despite being the richest, most powerful nation on earth, we are a country in which there are healthcare haves and healthcare have-nots. And there's probably nowhere in the country where you can see that any more starkly than right here in the Rio Grande Valley. I saw the van that you'll be using to travel out to the Colonia and try to give health care to people who just don't have access to it. This school is going to make a statement that social justice does matter, not as a political issue, not what they argue about in Congress, but it matters as a professional, ethical commitment for us. My coats still feel a little awkward, and I think the reason for that is when I went to medical school, I actually believed with my classmates that we would have all this fixed by the time I reached this point in life. If you had told me we'd still be a country where 1 out of 10 people doesn't even have health insurance, where we have children going unvaccinated, where prenatal care isn't available to many mothers to be, I wouldn't have believed it, but it is the case. We've made progress. You know, this now, just 1 in 10 Americans is actually the lowest number of uninsured we've ever seen in our history. We're on our way. So I'd like you to give me a gift. What I'd like you to do is promise that you'll join with me, with the people up here who have become your faculty because they believe in these ethical principles, and let's try to really turn our attention to that element of creating a just system, to bring the have-nots in, out of the cold, and help them experience the health they deserve. For me, that would be the greatest gift I could ever receive from you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Kirch, we're so grateful for you joining us here today, and thank you so very much for those remarks to our charter class. And thank you, Dr. Lieberman, for your very encouraging comments to our medical students. Students, today you have embarked in a journey that will be long, challenging, and sometimes frustrating, but one, as you've heard, that will bring you the greatest of fulfillment. On this historical day for the UTRGV School of Medicine, everyone here is to celebrate with you. As previously mentioned, the white coat ceremony is filled with symbolism, and the cloaking of students with white coats is a specially symbolic component of the ceremony that welcomes students into the medical profession. Each of the students' coats has been pinned with a Humanism in Medicine lapel pin donated by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. Students, by participating in this cloaking, you also affirm that you will uphold the highest ethical and professional standards throughout your lifetime as a practitioner of the art and science of medicine. This coat will be your constant friend in your journey as a student. It will be with you when you see your first patient, when you experience the embrace of a grateful patient. Yes, it will be there when you laugh, and yes, when you cry with your patients. On your coat will fall tears of joy, maybe after you deliver your first baby, or the tears of a patient or family member as a result of unbearable suffering or despair. But never forget the incredible privilege of wearing this coat that will symbolize hope and trust for the many patients you will serve. I now call on Dr. Fernandez and Dr. Lieberman to please take your place on stage to commence the cloaking. Also, I would like to ask Chancellor McCraven, President Bailey, Provost Rodriguez, and Dr. Kirch to please take your place here on stage to form the congratulatory line. Students, as I call your name, please enter the stage to be cloaked by Dr. Fernandez, Dr. Lieberman, and to be congratulated by Chancellor McCraven, President Bailey, Provost Rodriguez, and Dr. Kirch. So students, please take your place so we can start the cloaking component of the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to please hold your applause until all students have been cloaked. Joy Alvarado. Amanda Ariola. Daniel Bagua. Joseph Boateng. Rachel Boren. Leah Bryan. Alexandra Bulga. Christina Cepeda. Jose Chavez. Jeji Choi. Daniela Concha. Araceli Corona. Cleo Desmet. Zachary Donaville. Jarrett Eves. Danielle Fang. Jennifer Fang. Gabriel Franklin. Corey Fuentes. Keith Garrison. Joseph Garza. David Goblat. Neri Guerrero. Caitlin Hall. Sean Izadi. Rusbe Kataki. Christian Lalonde. Michael LaPalooza. Christine Loftus. Katerina Longoria. Dylan Lopez. Julian Mahler. Rogelio Mendoza. Rogerio Montes. Shravan Narapuretti. Vanaya Nicolo. Shumara Kate Ondoy. David Ortiz. Nirul Patel. Eugene Postevka. Victoria Ragland. Maureen Ramirez. Rafael Raya. Courtney Remington. Sonia Rivera. Rachel Salinas. Mokhtar Sheikh Salah. Jacob Smith. Ramiro Tovar. Veronica Trevino. Ryan Trimble. Dorian Turner. Ushma Vader. Ana Vasquez. Shane Wing. Let's congratulate our students. The students will now recite an oath that affirms their solemn commitment to the medical profession, to their patients, and to the humanistic practice of medicine. I would like now to call on the class representative, Ruzbe Kotaki, to join me on the podium to lead the recitation of the profession of values.
All the students from the class of 2020, please stand to recite the Hippocratic Oath. Also, I invite all the physicians in the audience to stand and join in the recitation of the oath. The oath is found in your program brochure on the next to last page. Please raise your right hands. I swear to fulfill, to the best of my ability and judgment, this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who follow. I will apply, for the benefit of the sick, all measures which are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say I know not, nor will I fail to call on my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in the matters of life and death. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being, whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes these related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society, with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm. If I do not violate this oath, may I enjoy life and art, respected while I live and remembered with affection thereafter. May I always act so as to preserve the finest traditions of my calling, and may I long to experience the joy of healing those who seek my help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rizbe. I now present to you the charter class of the UTRGV newly cloaked students of the School of Medicine. Everyone, please be seated. Students, again on this historical day for the UTRGV School of Medicine, everyone attending this celebration, joined by the dedicated faculty, wish you the greatest success in your education, training, and your life as a physician. During the next 4 years, you will acquire an incredible amount of knowledge and skills. But do not ever allow what you know to change who you are. The ideals of compassion, empathy, and service that you brought to medical school will always serve you well in the care of your patients, and these virtues will never be passé. I offer the following story. The story was told by Catherine Treadway from Harvard when she delivered the clinical center grand rounds at the NIH. She says that one of the most important lessons of her medical training occurred when she was paired with an intern who was seeing patients, already seeing patients. I think she mentioned she was a third-year medical student. The two were at dinner one time, and she says their duties had finished when the intern decided to look in on the 7-year-old girl with a Wilms tumor. The child was in the late stages of disease, and it was clear that she would not survive. According to Dr. Treadway, still the intern summoned the courage to enter the room where the patient's parents and both sets of grandparents sat vigil. The intern simply walked over and wordlessly embraced the parents. And Dr. Treadway says, I learned an important lesson that night. She says, I don't even recall the intern's name, but I learned that even when there's nothing more you can do, you can bear witness to the pain in the room. Doctors can have a profound impact with their kindness and compassion. She concluded her talk with the following quote: I've learned that patients will forget what you said. Patients will forget what you did. But patients will never forget how you made them feel. What a fitting story for this most precious ceremony. Students, we are so proud of you and we wish you Godspeed in your journey. I now would like to invite the students to join us on stage. And please, I'd ask everyone to please stay seated. We have not concluded the program, so please stay seated. I'd like to, at this point, to thank all of you for your attendance to this, as you have witnessed, a most precious ceremony. I'd like to thank all our elected officials who are here, VIP guests, and you, the community that have come here, the families of these students, to support them. So on behalf of UTRGV and the School of Medicine, thank you very much. The families, as I said, the special guests. These students will need your continued support and encouragement during their educational journey. As was said, there will be a reception after this event. I will let you know when the event formally concludes. I'd like to thank the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation provided us, the School of Medicine, a grant to defray the cost of this ceremony, and they also provided the humanism pins that the students have in their lapel. And again, I'd like to thank the planning committee. We have planned this event now for several months. Those committee members know what I mean, but it's been a labor of love to do that. And it's wonderful that it has culminated in such, again, beautiful event. We received greetings from the Dean of the School of Medicine in San Antonio, the UT Health Science Center at San Antonio, a congratulatory message I'd like to read from Dean Francisco Gonzalez Escarano. He says, from the faculty and staff of the UT School of Medicine at San Antonio, our warmest congratulations on the momentous occasion of the inaugural white coat ceremony for the UTRGV School of Medicine. The foundation for this medical school was set over a decade ago with the Regional Academic Health Center in Harlingen and all the outstanding faculty who populated it for over a decade. We are honored and excited to have had a part in making this medical school a reality. We wish the students of this first class a terrific medical career, and we already look forward to your graduation in 2020 and to the many years of service to the community after that. So we thank Dr. Scarano, Dean of the School of Medicine at San Antonio, for sending us those comments to us and the students. Just wanted to say again, after the ceremony formally concludes, we invite all of you to join us for a reception. The reception, they'll be waiting here outside the Performing Arts Facility, shuttle buses that will take you to the reception area, and they will also be bringing you back from the reception back here to the Performing Arts Facility. We have the reception we anticipate. We have set 2 hours for the reception. You don't have to stay at 2 hours, but we'd love you to stay. We're going to have a big South Texas celebration here as this white coat ceremony concludes. So again, thank you so much for your presence, and we will now, I think I was told that we will have the stage come up at some point, or not the stage, but the curtains. And I think you're in for, and again, let me just say, when the curtain comes up, it's very important that you stay in your seats. We will, as I said earlier, be providing you, the students, the videos, the photographs, and you will not miss out on anything. You family members will have these photographs and videos for a long memory. So again, we'll just go ahead, and I'll wait till I get the cue that the curtain will rise. I don't know how to tap dance, so I won't do that for you. But let me just say that I see some wonderful friends here from across the valley, and this has been a vision and a dream that has been for so many. So many have sacrificed to see this day today over many years, and it's so wonderful and a real fulfillment again. Many people that I can think of that I wish they were here to see this moment, who have indeed given so much of their lives to be able to have a medical school here in the Valley. So our great gratitude to all who have worked towards this here at the university, UT system, the physicians, our hospital partners, as I said, our elected officials. This has truly been an incredible labor of love for all of us. So again, I hope you have enjoyed the ceremony. I'm going to now step back there, if they let me back there. Are we going to have the curtains rise now? I don't, okay. So I'd like to now ask the students, we're going to have a recessional with the students. I'd like to ask everyone again to stay seated as the students recess. I'd like now to students to begin the recessional, and again, please remain in your seats. Will you please stand and recess, students? So this concludes our ceremony. We'll see you at the reception.